Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Good morning, everyone. Listen, guys, the last 24 hours in the United Kingdom have been absolutely chaos, carnage, unbelievable. I've had to literally pinch myself to consider what's just happened. So last night in London, and look, guys, I genuinely found out about this pretty late in the game. There was an emergency protest in London. People were going bonkers. People going crackers, guys. You know what I always say to people? You know, look in the crowd. Look at the crowd. What does the crowd feel like? The energy, the dynamics, the mood. Guys, look, right now, I'm calling it Britain is at war. And just because the BBC and mainstream media, nobody's told you, don't think it's not real. Right now, ladies and gentlemen, if you're in the United Kingdom, you are at war. You're an internal war with problems we've imported, and we are very soon going to be at an external war. Last month on the 19th, I have checked it, guys, it was the 19th. Last month on the 19th of September, I did a video and I was saying, look, guys, Islamic State have released this warning, and they are literally warning to, what did they say, ram, stab, and shoot people, target Christians and Jews in the United Kingdom. Turns out this month, ramming, stabbing, and almost kabooming of Jews at a synagogue actually happened. Ladies and gentlemen, nowhere is safe now in the United Kingdom. There is no safety. That thing has gone, ladies and gentlemen. I'm calling it now, guys. Okay, Britain is at war. We're going to be at two wars, an internal war and an external war. And now I'm thinking about Nostradamus. I'm thinking, right, Nostradamus did blast this, didn't he? Nostradamus did say this. So here I am, sat here, and I'm thinking, right, okay, and guys, I will come on to the factual things in a minute. I am thinking now, right, okay, was this just lucky that Nostradamus did predict this, or is there something more into it? I think that's a live stream for another time. But my advice to you guys right now is get out now. If you can, get out of the United Kingdom, guys, because nothing good is coming. The police cannot control what's coming. Right, let me open up, guys, and let me get some screens open. That's what we're talking about this morning, ladies and gentlemen. So I will be streaming, as always, this morning on YouTube, on X, and on... Hang on a minute. Right, sorry, guys. I'm just looking at a new image of this guy, Jihad al-Shami, new 14 minutes ago. So... I mean, I can't show you this number. I can't show you. Anyway, new image of attacker Jihad Shami, and he looks gay. A new image of the synagogue attacker suspect Jihad al-Shami has been released. Sky News has verified the photo. Al-Shami, a British citizen of Syrian descent, came to the UK as a child and was naturalized as a British citizen when he was still a child in the mid-2000s. The Home Secretary told Sky News this morning. For now, that's all we know about the attacker. And then there's a picture of him with a little beanie hat, being like doing like a little side pose like this. Woohoo! Look at me. I don't. But listen, guys, real quick, I want to talk about this protest, whatever you want to call it, last night in London. It echoes back to me. Can you remember when the 7th of October attack happened in Israel? There were people out on the streets celebrating. As people were getting unalived in Israel, we had people on the streets celebrating. And it was a fascinating thing for me to watch and to, it was just fascinating for me to watch. And I don't mean fascinating in a good way. I'm not like saying that it was good. I'm saying I was just looking at it and thinking, hang on a minute. There's an attack going on in a country and people are out on the street celebrating. And as the attack was still going on, people out protesting against Israel, saying, waving their flags, saying, show restraint. Israel needs to show restraint. I'm thinking, hang on a minute, they're the ones under attack. That is like, conceptually, guys, that is like getting beaten up by someone and somebody telling you, Sean, you need to calm down. You go, what? Sean, you need to calm down. Sean, you need to calm down. You're like, what? What do you mean I'm getting beaten up here? I'm getting beaten up. That is literally the same concept. I always remember these people out on the streets, seeing them in real time. But listen, guys, I'm going to come back to something. I'm just going to read it again because I think it's more relevant now than when I actually did it. Like a couple of well, it wasn't a couple. It was last month. Last month, I did a video, and that video was Islamic State threatens Jews and Christians in the UK. Right, I can't. Right, let me Google it again, actually, guys. Sorry. Yeah, 19th September. So this is not the article that I went from, but I'll just read this anyway, guys. So this is an article that was released last month on the 19th of September. Islamic State issues horror threat to Britons after telling followers to attack Christians and Jews. Shoot, stab and ram. That's not me, guys. That is an article from GB News on the 19th of September. 22:53 that was published. So that's you guys can go check that out yourself. So this was reported on mainstream media, and I'm surprised nobody else has got caught on to this yet. Does it surprise anyone, ladies and gentlemen, that nobody's put these two things together? And we've got Shabina Mahmood coming out. Shabina Mahmood. Shabina Mahmood. I don't know if she was out with the protesters last night, the pro-Palestine protesters. She may have been. I'm not sure. I know she has been out with them before. But Shabina Mahmood was saying it's a lone wolf. The only person who's responsible is that person. And I'm thinking in my head, well, hang on a minute. If last month on literally I think it was the night, I'm not sure when I did the video. I may have done the video on the 19th or the 20th. Islamic State issues horror threat to Britons after telling followers to attack Christians and Jews. Shoot, stab, ram. The article actually goes on. The article goes on and it says, follow your prey into their homes. And the article goes on and it's quite graphic what they want the followers to do. Listen, ladies and gentlemen, I'm calling it right now. If you are in Britain right now, Britain is at war. Just because nobody on the BBC's come out and told you, just because Keir Starmer's not come up on the lectern and said, today, ladies and gentlemen, we are at war. Just because that's not happened, do not think that it's not happening. A spokesman for the Islamic State, Abu Hudhaifa, I remember doing this and I remember struggling. Abu Hudhaifa al-Ansari encouraged supporters to pursue individuals of the two faiths through America, Europe, and the world. The message titled, and you guys can go check this out yourselves, or zealous monoliths. I remember doing this video before last month, guys. I remember doing this video and saying, look, guys, this is a credible threat. I'm seeing this as a credible threat. I then did a series of videos saying what to do if you find yourself in that scenario, in those situations. So you can go and check this out yourselves, guys. It's called Zealous Monotheists. I don't even know what that means, but that's the title of the document, which outlines multiple methods of carrying out assaults. including explosives, firearm, bladed weapons, and vehicles as instruments of attack. I'm not going to go into it now, guys, because I have done quite a lengthy video about this. You know, they were calling for this last month, and I said to you guys, this is a credible threat. And I'm pretty surprised how no mainstream media have put these things together. Last month, Islamic State calling for attacks on Christians and Jews, shoot, stab, ram, blow up, right? Okay. Fake news. Oh, don't worry about it. This month, but not even a month later, guys, like what, 20 days later, we had the incident last night in Manchester. Not only did we have the incident last night in Manchester, I think what's more wild is the fact that there was an emergency protest in London, and the scenes were absolute. You know what? Let me just get these up and let me see if I can find any numbers of how many arrests there were. I bet there was no arrests. I bet little Sadiqi would have said no, given no arrest order or something. Right, I must not. Right, did I make this up? Did I make this up, or were there really protests last night, guys? I think I might have made this up. Right. No, I've spelt it wrong. Yeah, there we are. Well, I can't see any condemnation for. I can't see any condemnation from the government yet, from Keir Starmer or Shabina Mahmood condemning this protest last night that clearly turned into a riot. Do you see the disparity here, ladies and gentlemen? Can you see the disparity? Now I'm just pointing this out. Oh, hang on. So last night there was a protest in London, and I would say that protest turned into a riot. They may have changed the definition of where a protest turns into a riot. But I would say last night in London, outside the White House, outside number 10, not the White House, or it might be soon. In London, outside number 10, last night was a protest. And when I'm looking at those scenes, I would say that's a riot. Last month, you know, there was a massive protest, a peaceful protest in London, and hardly anybody got arrested. You know, like there was like 8 people arrested, but that's like 0.00000. I don't know how many notes, 8 or whatever it is, of the actual people that turned up to London. So, how many people got arrested last night, guys? It's crazy, absolutely crazy. Hang on a minute, guys. Hang on a minute. The chat's frozen, guys. Am I still streaming on TikTok? I think TikTok's got TikTok's gone. I think I'm gone on TikTok. Yeah, I'm gone on TikTok. Oh, did I say something, guys? Did I say something controversial on TikTok? I think I must have said something controversial on TikTok because I'm gone. Oh no, I'm still there. Sorry, guys. Listen, ladies and gentlemen, the screen's freezing for me at the moment. Listen, guys, we're triple streaming this morning. So can you do me a real big favor? If the live stream goes on TikTok, go over to YouTube. Likewise, I will be closing this live stream down on TikTok, and then I will be just streaming on YouTube and X. Sorry, guys. Sorry, guys. The chat was that my whole screen froze. I'm the real guys. I'm the real Raven One on YouTube. I'm the real Raven One on X, and I'm the real Raven One on TikTok. And I've just remembered I didn't close the chat this morning. So normally I have the subscribers only on the chat, so it's gone crackers. Right, let me find this Claxton. Right, Claxton, bless him, is saying there was not a riot in London last night. Right, okay. There was a protest in London last night. I mean, I could argue that every night's a riot in London. I'm just going to have a look at the definition of a riot. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Okay, so I'm saying there absolutely was a riot in London last night. If we go by the Oxford Dictionary definition, 1, noun, a violent disturbance of the peace by a crowd. Absolutely, there was a riot last night, guys, in the capital. Now, if we're going off that, if we're going from the Oxford Dictionary definition of a riot, and they may change this, they may change the definition of a riot in a few weeks or something to say like a riot can only be by right-wing hooligans. If they're liberals and they're peaceful and they're waving liberal flags, then they can't do a riot. It's impossible. But if we're going from the Oxford definition of a riot, then yes, 100% there was a riot last night in London. Obviously, the police chiefs may say that they only call it a riot if 6 officers get captured. There are four people transcend to beams of light, and 1,000 shops are burnt down. That's what the police may say is a riot. But as per the Oxford Dictionary, guys, 100% there was a riot in London last night. Right, hang on a minute. Right, James is saying here, and I don't know if this is true or not. James on TikTok is saying it was certainly an inner city disturbance with 40 arrests. Right, guys, listen, I'm going to turn the chat. Right, guys, look, I want to get the chat on TikTok. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to just put subscribers only chat on TikTok. If you guys want to comment or throw words at me, go over to YouTube, guys, okay? So let me just turn this chat off because I want to concentrate on the subscribers chat this morning. If I can do this, how do I do it? Is it that one? I don't know if I can do it while I'm streaming. Maybe I can, maybe I can't. No, I don't think I can change it while I'm streaming. Right, okay, not to worry. Not to worry, ladies and gentlemen. Not to worry. We'll just deal with it. Come on, click. Open. Click. Right, it's not clicking. It's not clicking. It's not clicking. Right, so the crux of this live stream is, ladies and gentlemen, okay? I'm calling it now. Britain is at war. I don't know how else to describe this. If you live in Britain right now, attacks are a daily occurrence. Things being set on fire, whether it's a church. Oh, I can. Yes. Whether it's a church, whether it's a church, a storage facility, a military facility, whether it's a gang of people taking a young girl and doing stuff to her. Whatever these things are, guys, these are acts of this is modern warfare now in Britain, and this is what this is what the challenge is. First of all, like any problem, ladies and gentlemen, we need to accept that there's a problem. And the government coming out and giving these speeches, we condemn these attacks, we stand in solidarity. This will not divide our communities. Kind of not dealing with the problem because we're not accepting that there's a problem. And without accepting there's a, hang on. And without, I've got a weather warning, storm, what's her name's on the way. And without accepting that there's a problem and identifying the problem, how do we hope to defeat it, guys? Without identifying that there's a problem, how do we hope to defeat it? Helen MG on YouTube, thank you for becoming a member. Thank you so much. Guys, we're getting quite a few members now on YouTube. Thank you so much, Helen, for becoming a member. I hope you are going to continue to be a powerful contributor to this channel. Right, for some reason, guys, this I can't change the chat on TikTok. I'm trying to do it now. The screen's just loading. It's taking forever. Cassie is saying, I'm off to YouTube. I'm off to YouTube. Clacton is boring now. Right, let me have a look what Clacton's saying on this chat. Right, I think he's just out. I don't know if Claxton is saying Christ group of hard thinkers. Like, what does that even mean? So Claxton on the TikTok, I'm just gonna go up and see what Claxton's saying. Christ group of hard thinkers. I don't even know what that means. Like, are you saying that Christ is a hard thinker? I don't know what that means, Claxton. All your predictions are not correct. So you've been watching me a while then. So so Claxton, it must have been Claxton. Are you a subscriber? I think you have. Claxton, right? So you've actually paid to come on here and troll me. I'm all, listen, well done. I mean, I think that's fantastic. People are paying to come and troll me. Yeah, fantastic. I did what's his name? What's that guy's name? Bob Villain. Did Bob Villain send you? Has Bob Villain sent you, Claxton? Right, I'm going to jump over to YouTube, guys. Right, hang on. I think I can turn this off now. Nope, still not going. Still not going. Yes, yes. Right, I'll turn it off in this. No, how do I do that? How can I do it when I'm... Right, that's how I used to be able to do it. Huh. Right, does anyone know how to change the chat while you're streaming? Because there's too many questions on this chat now, guys. I was in a massive rush. I was in a massive rush when I tried to get on here, and I don't know how to change the chat while I'm streaming. Not that, 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 not that. Maybe it's on the chat. Oh, hang on. Settings. Sorry, guys. I appreciate this. I'm just trying to change the chat while I'm streaming. No, I don't know. That's not it. Is it that one? No, is it? I have no idea. No idea how to change this chat while I'm streaming, guys. Do you know what, guys? Listen, I'm gonna. Oh. Right, hang on. I think I've got this. Yes, I think I've got it. No. Right, got it. Show messages only from. No. Show messages only from. Nope. Nope. Right. Right. That's not it. No. Right. I'm at a total loss here, guys. How to change these? Robin Hood is saying you'll be here until Christmas. I don't want to block it. Right. Okay. I am going to block him. Right, guys. I'm going to block him. Right, Claxton. With respect, like you're just putting too much in here. You know, right, okay, I am gonna block. Guys, honestly, I feel real bad about myself when I block people because Claxton's come up here. He's paid to troll me, but I just can't. It's just too much. You know, you're ruining the chat. So Claxton, I am gonna block you, mate. Do you know what? I'm not. I'm gonna mute you. I'm not gonna block you. I'm gonna mute you. Right, that's better. Right, I don't feel as bad about myself, and I do apologize, guys. Listen, this is an apology from me. I do apologize. I should have clicked that button before I went on. Yeah, instead of trying to do it in real time. But listen, ladies and gentlemen, this is how you guys know I'm live. I'm live. You know, I'm live, and I deal with problems as I come up against them. So he's been muted now, or she, and we'll get on to what we were talking about. So last month there was a threat from Islamics, and you know I always say all the information's out there. You just need to know where to look. Well, here's another example, guys. You know, last month I did a video. I was saying Islamic State issues a warning to kill Christians and Jews. I don't think this is the end, guys. You know, and I've said this so many times. You know, what do you think people are talking about in the comfort of their own homes? What do you think, like, you know, people in various places in the United Kingdom, what do you think they're talking about when they're having dinner together? Do you think they talk about, you know, rainbows and butterflies? Or do you think some people that prescribe to certain ideologies, do you think that those people may or may not have a certain ideology and they may prescribe to Islamic State? Oh. Right, Kanye is saying, right, guys, I'm going on a muting spree. Kanye is saying, what Islamic State? The Islamic State of Iraq and Syria, but you're getting muted as well. Right, you're getting muted. Who else is getting muted? Right, let me look up through this chat, guys. You've started me, right? I'm just going to start muting everyone now. Right, we look okay for now, guys. We look okay for now. But look, guys, just if you're going to jump on right now, I'm not in the mood for a swizzle right now, guys. People, you know, Britain is at war. I'm calling it, and people think it's funny. People think it's funny, guys. You know, look at the comments. Go on to X and look at the comments that some people are leaving. The comments that some people are leaving are vile. And again, you've got to understand, guys, all right? We've got to understand that these comments, a lot of these comments that are being left are from faceless trolls that are potentially in, oh, hang on a minute. Ireland and Social Manager says Raven doesn't support free speech. You're gone as well, mate. See you later. A lot of these trolls, because what you've got to understand now, guys, is contextually around the world, you know, around the world, you've got other people, near peer adversaries, you know, you could say Russia, China, Iran, North Korea. And what they will be doing right now, I would speculate, right now in quite open office blocks, they will have hundreds of people. They will have hundreds of people sat in a room. Hang on a minute. They will have hundreds of people sat in a room, and those people in that room will be fanning the flame on social media, because social media is a weapon, guys. It is a weapon. And those people, they will just go into the room and they will say, right, listen, everybody, you half, I want you half to push this agenda. They will say, right, okay. They'll start typing. And they'll say, right, you half push that agenda. And what they will do as well, they will target one specific news article. They'll target one specific news article. And when they're targeting that one specific news article, what happens is that gets pushed up in the algorithm. So when that gets pushed up in the algorithm, more people see it. So say, for example, they want to push some sort of pro tea. Let's just say they all want to push cups of tea, and they want more people in the United Kingdom to push more cups of tea. What you would do, you would get online, you would find an article about tea, and then you start pushing and sharing that article. And what the algorithms do on social media, they think, right, people want to listen and see what's happening there with that cup of tea. So then the algorithm starts to push that out to everyone. And that's how social media works, guys. So you can imagine a room of people, all right? And on one side, you've got blue team, and there's 50 people in blue team. And on the other side, you've got red team. Blue team, you push far right propaganda. Red team, you push far left propaganda, and you identify this target area. Let's just say that each person has 10 accounts, and you've got 50 people on each side. That's like 500 accounts. What those people will do, they will log into their first account. I don't know. Real Raven 2 or whatever. They will send, post, comment, and then they'll log out. They'll log into their other account, send, post, comment, share, log into their other account, send, post, comment, share. They're all using VPNs. You can't trace where this information's coming from. So that's, we do have to be careful, because, I do understand a lot of these comments. A lot of these comments are from these, these chatbots, And if you want to go one step further, you just use a computer program to do that. Literally, you can use a computer program that can do all of that. It is better to do it by hand, because the algorithms that certainly Facebook and maybe even X run, they can tell if it's done by a computer or whether it's done by somebody tapping the screen. Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, let me get some comments, because that chat's been wild. Irish Mank is saying every Western country. Yeah, do you know what? Actually, it is every Western country. Every Western country is now in a desperate situation. We are, guys, in an absolute, chaotic situation. And until we identify the threat, you can't do anything. When you're in the military, they teach you something called a battle drill. And the first thing you get taught in that battle drill is reaction to effective enemy fire, which is what we're on now. We have got effective enemy fire. So they teach you how to react if you come under effective enemy fire. The next thing they learn you is to locate the enemy. Because if you can't locate the enemy, how are you supposed to defeat the enemy? If the enemy's over there 200 meters in a wood line and you're attacking over there 300 meters in a bun line, you're not attacking the enemy. You've got your backs to the enemy. So I think the government really need to have a wake-up call. The threat isn't from the far right. The far right is a symptom of a problem, not a problem. Do you guys understand that? Yes, the far right are dangerous. And there are far right people out there who are just blatantly, well, who are just racist, and it's ridiculous. But the emergence and the strength and the gathering and the dynamics of that movement is a symptom of a problem. And the problem, I feel, is a mind virus. You know, I feel it's a mind virus. James Colley is saying, but the enemy is an ideology, and you can never defeat an ideology. So we are done. Yes, of course you can defeat an ideology. You know, this war's been going, like, you know, you can defeat an ideology, but you've got to defeat an ideology with an ideology. Candy Rocks is saying, oh yeah, I can comment today. Yeah, I totally forgot to turn the subscribers chat on. We've had a few people on here who I've had to mute. If you can't get through on the chat, guys, go over to YouTube and comment over on YouTube. We're triple streaming this morning, guys. We're streaming on YouTube, we're streaming on X, and we are streaming on TikTok. The crux of this live stream has been Britain is at war. Get out now if you can, guys. All right, that's my advice to you if you live in the United Kingdom. Get out now if you can. Lisa Jane over on YouTube is saying the BBC said it was the far right that caused the incident yesterday. It was a disgusting statement. I didn't actually see the statement, but I've seen other people comment on it. Yeah, it's phenomenal. Just for the laughs is saying the government needs to take a strong stand to defend our ideologies and culture that have been around for thousands of years. You see, what I found is, let me have some coffee. What I found is the governments don't care because they're making their money. They want to be rich. Why would the governments? Yeah, Google it. So hang on a minute. Google sent me some stickers. I don't know how to upload them. I don't know how to upload them. I'll figure it out. Listen, guys, literally everything I do, I have to like Google how to do it. So just for the laughs over on YouTube, he's saying the government needs to take a strong stand to defend our ideologies and cultures that have been around for thousands of years. Well, ideas should protect themselves. The problem is, like, we elect these people because it's the whole political system, guys. It's the whole political system. You know, we elect these people because we think they're going to do good for us. But then when somebody comes up to them and says, right, Sean, here's £1 million. I want you to sign that piece of paper. You know, I'm pretty uncorruptible, guys. So it costs a lot. I think it cost the whole money of the entire world. I mean, I would speculate that Angela Rayner is a perfect example of this. Like a perfect example of this. You know, a lot of building and a lot of you know what? I don't want to speculate. I don't want to say that because that would be misinformation. Okay, what I will do is I'll give a scenario. All right, I'll give a scenario. Do we think it's possible that a donor, remember, you know how we have this system in the UK where like donors can just give money to politicians? So do we think that when Angela Rayner was in charge, and she's gone now, So she's gone. So she, for whatever happens in the future, she's not accountable anymore. So she could have signed anything and she's not accountable for that now. She's gone. So do you think it's possible that a building developer could have gave a donation to Angela Rayner? I think it is. I think it's possible. And then with that donation, do you think as a favor, or not a favor, just a little bit of information, what she does then is, you know, this building developer says, right, Angela, you need to sell off some council land, or whoever, whatever. This could happen at local level as well. And then they say, right, okay, we'll auction this land off. And they say, right, okay, we'll open the auction up to everyone because it has to be fair. And then they say, right, but to get on this auction system, you have to jump through all these hoops. And they want all sorts of random stuff. They want where your offices are. You've got to have an office here. You've got to have an office there. You've got to have an office there. You've got to have this many staff. You've got to have that many people. You've got to show these documents. The donor already has that because they know that they're going to meet all that criteria because they set that criteria. So then the donor just uploads all their documents and nobody else bothers uploading those documents. It's just a faff. And it's a one-off thing and people are like, well, what's this going to mean? What's this going to mean? It's not going to mean anything. Well, whatever, I'm not going to bother. And then the day of the auction comes and they're auctioning off this council land or this government land. We need to raise some money. We need to raise some money for people, for people at Bradford West. We need to raise some money for them people at Bradford West. So we're going to have an auction. We're going to sell some brown belt land that developers can develop on. We'll get a right pretty penny for this, I tell thee. Oh, look at it there. It's already got gas and electric and planning permission. Proper right good. We'll get loads for this. But when that auction, when the day of the auction happens, only one person turns up. You see where that direction goes, guys? Like, you see where that goes? Oh, only one person turned up. They bought it for £1. Yes, lessons have been learned and we have to reevaluate the system and, you know, yada, yada, yada. But this person, you know, they're going to develop it and they're going to spend millions. And you see how that goes, guys? You see how easy it is to manipulate the system? Oh, Sharon is saying, we have a new Archbishop of Canterbury, Sarah Morley, the first woman in the role. We're over, guys, as a country. It's done. It's the United Kingdom's over, guys. The United Kingdom is over. Let me Google. Let me just have a Google on this. Lovely place, Canterbury. Oh, God. They've gone woke. They've gone woke. God, look at her. Woman named as new Archbishop of Canterbury. I mean, the Orthodox Christians are going to be turning, guys. They're going to be laughing at us right now, with the Orthodoxers. The 63-year-old Archbishop designate is married to Eamon. I'm not sure why that's relevant. Eamon Mulhally. Let me Google him. I bet. Let's see what do we think Eamon Mulhally does? Let's see what he does. So according to this, her husband is a City of London guide and storyteller. As you may surmise from my name, I come from an Irish family where the oral tradition was celebrated and flourished. Guys, I don't even know what that means, but apparently the oral tradition is celebrated and flourished in Ireland. 1980, I settled in South London. Ever since I've been a voyager of discovery, getting to know and cherish the rich diversity, oh God, of London's villages and smaller towns that I now call home. I've spent my career working in the software industry and HR, which has meant I have spent my life devising innovative solutions to business problems, presenting the mundane to the sublime, and sometimes patently ridiculous in a positive and informative way. Join me on my walks through the city from an insider with a unique perspective. So there he is. I mean, this may be him, Eamon Mulhally. I don't know how many Eamon Mulhallys there are. Yeah, definitely him. Definitely him on his on his page. There is his wife's Sarah Mulhally. Oh, hang on. Yeah, I'm not going to give you that as personal information. I'm not going to share personal information of him, even though it's on the internet, guys. So, woman, 63-year-old archbishop designated. I mean, guys, honestly, this is embarrassing. The 63-year-old archbishop is married to Eamon Mully, who she has 2 children, originally from Woking in Surrey, nice part of the world. She was the UK's chief nursing officer from 1999 to 2004. Bishop of London, Dame Sally Mullally, former nurse, has been named as the next Archbishop of Canterbury, the first time a woman has been appointed to the role of the Church of England's history. The announcement comes almost a year since Justin Welby resigned from the role as spiritual leader of the Church of England due to a damning review into his handling of child sexual abuse. It's the first time she's been first time an archbishop has been chosen since women were welcomed as bishops in 2014. How can people how do we, like, with respect to her, how is anyone going to take her seriously? I mean, how did anyone take the last one seriously? Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, that's what we are dealing with right now. Sorry, guys, if you guys are on. Right, ladies and gentlemen, listen, guys, I am going to be closing this down on TikTok very soon. If you've not done so, hang on. Freedom for UK saying, can somebody explain the problem with it being a woman? You can't be a bishop in the Bible. It's quite clear you can't be a bishop if you're a woman. You know, that's the reality. You can't be a bishop if you're a woman. So it's not me that's got a problem with it, although I do. But it's kind of like, so the comment here on TikTok is, can somebody explain the problem with it being a woman? So you can't be a bishop in the, like, if you want to be true to the Bible, you can't be a bishop if you're a woman. Gays can't get married. You know, that's what it says in the book. So it's kind of like having this book and saying it's true and honest and you believe in this book. But I don't believe in that bit. I don't believe in that bit. That bit we can change that. That bit can be a trans person. You either go by the scripture or you don't bother at all. It's like if you're putting together a cabinet, you know, and it says you need pot, you can only use, I don't know, but you know, you can buy these like a house kit. You get the instructions, you download the instructions online. They're like maybe 20, 30 grand or something. And it tells you what screws, nuts, bolts, nails you need. If it's telling you in those instructions, right, that you need, you need 4-inch nails, and you use 2-inch nails, your building's going to fall down. Oh, but what's the problem with 2-inch nails? They're just as good. No, that doesn't make any sense. It's telling you to use 4-inch nails, so you use 4-inch nails. Hang on, guys. Snowdrops is saying maybe they think. Hang on, where did Snowdrops comments go? Snowdrops is saying maybe they think they're safe with a woman. No more scandals. James Colley is saying, doesn't the Bible say it can't happen, or is it just, or it just doesn't mention is two different things? Let's have a look. Let's ask AI. So Timothy 2:12 and 3:1-7 and Titus 1:5-9 suggest the office of a bishop is restricted to men, citing the requirement that a bishop to be the husband of one wife. So that's what it says, guys. The husband of one wife. Maybe old Sarah identifies as a man. I mean, we can do that now. Maybe her pronouns are him, his. Biblical qualifications. A husband to one wife, a qualification that only a man can carry. Yeah, so I guess they're that's the biblical context of it. Freedom from UK is saying, so God discriminates. No, I think everybody has their place in society. Everybody has their place in society, and the problem with society is we think that everybody's equal, and everybody's not equal. Everybody are not everybody is equal, and that's just the reality. Not everybody is equal. Not everybody was born equal. That's the reality, guys. All right. Whether you want to believe that or not, that is totally up to you. All right. Not everybody was born equal. There was a guy I went to school with, lovely guy, was really short, fat. He was always in and out of hospital. He's not equal to me. I'm not discriminating there. I'm giving you the facts. Like, physically, he's not equal to me. There's no way around it. He's not equal. He can't run as fast as me. He's always in bad health. He can't reach as high up as me. He can't reach the top shelf like me. He's not equal. That's the reality. All right. And until we accept that not everybody's equal and different people have different roles in our society and we need to work together, that's where the problems begin. Because now a little guy says, oh, I want to do what Sean does. And you're like, really, mate? You ain't got it in you. No, I want to. It's not fair that I... Yeah, do you know what? Yeah, what does fair mean? Not all people are equal, guys. Not all people are equal, and that's the reality. And sorry, guys, let me continue a little bit more on this. Okay, there's a job in society for men and women, and those jobs are equally as important. And without doing both of those jobs, a man can't do what a woman does, and a woman can't do what a man does. That's the reality. You know, if we say, right, you women, you girls have got to go be special forces operators. You girls have got to be business CEOs. You girls have got to do this. You're not empowering women. You're making an inferior man. And if you say to a man, oh, you've got to do this, you've got to do this, you've got to do this to be woke, you've got to do this, you've got to do that. You're not empowering a man, you're making an inferior woman. And until people understand these fundamental, you know, I mean, look, David Lammy thinks you can grow a cervix. But until people understand this, you know, we're just going to have more and more problems. I think a better way to look at this is think about Lord of the Rings. You guys know I love Lord of the Rings, right? You know, you've got different people in Lord of the Rings. And think about the hobbits from Lord of the Rings. The one ring to find them, and in the darkness bind them. The one ring to rule them all. It was so powerful that it would corrupt any men that were around it. So men couldn't be around that ring because it would just corrupt them and turn them crackers. So they had to give that to a hobbit. Now the hobbits can't have mass battles and wield axes and swords and lead men and gallant armies. But they've got their place, and they fulfill their place, and they fulfill their role. And that's how society works. And one of the tropes I talk about on this channel is Western culture is the expansion culture. Western culture is a culture of expansion. Without being able to expand, there's no purpose right now for Western culture in the world. Without that culture, without that drive, the whole society is breaking down. And this is what you can see all over the world, because people don't really know what the problem is. And the solution to this, guys, is we need to start traveling into space and go into the cosmos. Because as soon as that happens, I know this has gone wild, guys. I know I'm going on a side mission. Because as soon as that happens, we start to work towards that common good. We start to work and become greater than the sum of our own parts. James is saying in Lord of the Rings, Frodo started to get corrupted by the ring. Yeah, right at the end, Frodo gets corrupted by the ring, and Gollum jumps on his back, bites his finger off, and then falls into the pit. So you know, I guess the message from that. The message from that is everybody's corruptible at some point. But I think the hobbits held out a lot longer than men would have. Candy Rocks is saying, didn't George Orwell say animals are all equal? Yeah, so funny you mentioned that, actually. In this book here, which I've still not managed to find a way to give away. In fact, Candy Rocks, do you want one of these books? Right, do you want one of these books, Candy Rocks? This is George Orwell's 1984. I'm trying to give away these books, guys. I can't find a way to give away these books. Candy Rocks is saying that didn't George Orwell say all animals are equal? Yeah. So in this book, George Orwell's 1984, Animal Farm, it's an analogy of socialism. It's an analogy of socialism. Candy Rocks, if you inbox me your an address, I can send that to. Right, and T-Gen X. And T-Gen X is saying, I want one too. Right, I'm going to send you them too. I've only got two, guys. So Candy Rocks and T-Gen X, send me your addresses or somewhere I can post this to. I'll get them in the post. But in these books, George Orwell's Animal Farm, it's really good how they describe socialism, how it takes over, and how if you go with socialism, it just makes things worse. But that's this book, guys. It's a really good book to read. I've only got 2 of them, guys. I've only got 2 of them, and they've gone. Listen, don't blame me. I was asking you guys. I was saying, right, how do I give these books away? Nobody gave me any suggestions. Nobody said anything. You know, I was saying, right, guys, how do I give these books away freely, fairly? Candy Rocks mentioned it. I said, right, do you want one? And then whoever else just mentioned it. T Gen X. I've only got 2, guys, so I can only give 2 away. Right, ladies and gentlemen, listen, guys, I'm going to jump over to YouTube now. So if you want to go and show your support over on YouTube, we'll continue this live stream. I'm the Real Raven 1 on YouTube. I'm the Real Raven 1 on X. I will be jumping over now. I'll be closing this down now. I'll be on for maybe half an hour. I don't know. If not, ladies and gentlemen, I will be back on this evening, and hopefully I'll remember to click the button where we don't get people just jumping on. Jay Pucci is saying, Sean, you should have given them away to the highest gifters. I suggested that, but you got like people were moaning saying, oh, we shouldn't have to gift. So I'm like, right, I don't know how to do it, guys. Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, listen, guys, I'm the Real Raven 1 on YouTube. I'm the Real Raven 1 on X. I'm going to close this down now if I can. Sometimes it doesn't let me close it down. I think we're good. Yeah, we're good. I'll see you later, guys. If you're not jumping over to YouTube, I will see you later today at 8. And we're off, ladies and gentlemen. We are off. Right, that was wild. That was wild. We had hang on, guys. I'm just going up through the chat. Are we talking about Lord of the Rings on the chat? I hope we are. Donna is saying, Spotlight post, Russia is trying to jam UK military satellites weekly. Head of Space Command says, yeah, look, guys. Okay, so the crux of this video is Britain is at war. And I do think this is fitting. Space warfare, it's happening every day. One of the scenarios I give is, can you imagine if let me charge my phone up. One of the scenarios I give is, can you guys imagine if GPS went down? Can you imagine the chaos and carnage that would happen if GPS went down? So there is a lot of ways that you can do space warfare. First of all, ground-based lasers. I think that this is me speculating, I've got no information to say this, but I think that there are ground-based lasers in and around the Kursk region of Ukraine, Russia. Now, the reason I'm saying that is Ukrainians invested heavily into the Kursk region. And, you know, one of the I couldn't really work it out. So last year there was the Ukrainians managed to get boots on the ground in Russia, which is a massive thing. And one of the things I was saying is, right, they don't need to hold that ground. It makes no sense for them to hold that ground. And by holding that ground, they lost a lot more ground in the east because the Russians knew that the Ukrainians had invested a lot of manpower into that Kursk region, and the Russians managed to push a lot faster. And then they continued to hold that ground. So straight away, you know that there must be something in that ground that they want to keep. If you look at Kursk, it has a huge nuclear power plant. Now, whenever I see a nuclear power plant, a big nuclear power plant, I always think, right, what else is this powering? So if you think about satellites when they orbit the Earth, they have to orbit. You know, they can't just stop and go around countries. They have to go on a well-known orbit. So what I would speculate is when satellites are going over Russia, I'd say, here's my little satellite, my little laser. I would say ground-based lasers are frying those satellites as they pass over. And of course, initially, not much damage is going to be done. Over time, that will degrade those satellites. I was speaking to some people in the business, and they were telling me that when they go over Russia, they turn all their satellite systems off. So they go over and it's just a piece of metal, I guess, or circuit boards or whatever, aluminium and circuit boards as it goes over. But then you come to like spy satellites and military satellites. Those things will be taking pictures of, those things will be going over Russia taking pictures. So it makes sense to do that. Another thing to make sense to do would be if you are the bad guys, what you would do is you would find, I know this happened to German satellites. You would find your enemy satellites, find what orbit they're in. And look, guys, let's not pretend that the Russians and the Chinese can't hack into our systems and know where these are. They clearly do, and they have doing. And Donna Hogan's just, communicating that. So as you've got these satellites, and the satellites are orbiting Earth, what your near-peer adversary can do, they can put one of their satellites that's due to the end, almost at the end of its shelf life, they can put that in a chase orbit. So now you've got this satellite and another satellite right behind it. And these things are moving fast, guys. What is fast? The relative speed of these things, like a ground speed would be like 9-10 kilometers a second. In space, it's not relevant. It's not relevant because there's no wind resistance. So it's relative speed. But another way you can do this is you can jam those satellites. So you can send radio waves up and radio waves down. And there's all sorts of things, and there's probably stuff that I don't even know about. But yeah, space warfare is real, ladies and gentlemen. It's real. It's happening every day. GPS is the big one. To take GPS down, guys, if the bad guys manage to take civilian GPS down over the UK, and it's definitely a target. So the civilian GPS, it comes off a satellite system called the Galileo constellation. And there's literally one big satellite in geosynchronous orbit over I don't know, probably over Brussels or somewhere. And that satellite stays at the same relative spot relative to Earth. So the satellites know where it is. Now, it does that so it can give good accuracy in GPS readings. Now, the big satellite, everybody knows where it is. It's easy to take out with a missile, guys. That technology is well understood. It's easily understood and it's easily achievable. You can even take out those satellites with, I think the Russian S-500 can. In fact, I know it can. The Russian S-500, which is a ground-based surface-to-air missile, that can easily take out satellites. So we know that our civilian GPS grid is massively vulnerable. So if you take out the civilian GPS grid in the UK, yes, you're not going to take out the military grid. The military is still going to operate. But think of everybody that rely on the civilian GPS. Police, ambulance, fire service, all your delivery drivers, all your logistics drivers, everybody rely. So all that just stops. Day one stops. People are getting A to Z's out and right. High Street. Right, okay. Page 46. We can't operate without GPS, so all these things with space warfare. Back in 2017, this was a big problem. And one of the backup systems that was proposed was a series of smaller, low Earth orbiting satellites that could form redundancy. So rather than have one Galileo satellite in geostationary orbit, you would have lots of smaller satellites in low Earth orbit, giving you lots of redundancy. If one of those satellites gets taken down, you've still got hundreds or potentially thousands more. And if one of those satellites gets taken down, it's easy to replace. You can replace these with balloons. And then Elon Musk released his Starlink, which I've said all along is a backup GPS signal for the military. Anyway, guys, yes, space warfare is real. Sorry, guys, I went on another side quest then. Slim is saying, on the last Japanese coffee today, it's as good as any I've had. Highly recommended. Oh, I don't go to Morrison's. It's too expensive. You know what I did actually? I went to Morrison's the other day. You know how they used to do those 2 pizzas for £5? They went up to 2 pizzas for £6, and I said I'd never have one. I said, right, that's it. I can't go anymore. But I went the other day, and you know, it's still good, 2 for £6, and they're like freshly made pizzas right in front of you. Silly is saying, you all know Waze is really right. Do you know what, Silly? I know the app Waze. I've never actually been on it. I know it's a mapping thing. I've never actually been on Waze. Endeavour to Preserve is saying scientists are currently aiming all cameras on and around Mars at 3i Atlas. Guys, look, this will be the new breaking news. Look. 3i Atlas, it is weird. It's an interstellar object. I'm not convinced it's aliens. I'm not. But there's a lot of circumstantial evidence. There's a lot of people saying, you know, putting these things out, and it's very difficult to find the source material for this information. Somebody put on the chat the other day that it's slowing down, and I was like, by the beard of Zeus. Like, if it's slowing down, as far as I'm concerned, if that starts to slow down, it's aliens. Intelligently designed. And somebody put on the chat, it's slowing down. And then when I looked into it, all I could find is like YouTube videos saying that it's slowing down, but I couldn't actually find the source material to where this was slowing down. Debbie Doobs is saying her daughter works in Morrison, so I get 10% off, but still shopping Aldi instead. Oh, hang on. Oh. Well, that's embarrassing. So DH is saying the police. Hang on. Yeah. So this is coming out on mainstream media now on Sky News 30 seconds ago. Manchester synagogue attack latest. One of the victims killed, believed to be shot by police. Great. Look, guys, and I said it before, I hope these officers don't get dragged into, like, you've got to understand the stress that these officers are under. We can't drag any more of any of our police officers, especially the armed police officers. I've done a lot of work with the armed police officers, and they're really good. So I'm just going to read this attack, guys. I'm getting this in real time. Not this attack. I'm going to read this bit. I'm going to read this article. I'm getting this in real time. The Prime Minister is in Manchester. Right. Breaking news, guys. One of the victims killed in attack believed to have been shot by the police. Greater Manchester Police says. One of the victims was believed to be shot by the police. In a statement, Chief Constable Sir Stephen Watson says the force have taken advice from the medical professions overnight ahead of the full post-mortem examinations later on today. The Home Office pathologist has advised that he has provisionally determined that one of the deceased victims would appear to have suffered a wound consistent with a gunshot wound, he says. It is currently believed that the suspect, Jihadi Shammi, was not in possession of a firearm. And the only shots fired were from Greater Manchester Police as authorised firearms officers as they work to prevent the offender from entering a synagogue and causing further harm to our Jewish community. It follows, therefore, that subject to further forensic examination, this injury may sadly have been sustained as a tragic, unforeseen consequence of the urgently required action taken by my officers to bring this vicious attack to an end. Greater Manchester Police have also been informed that one of the 3 victims still in hospital following the attack has also suffered a gunshot wound. Wow, they were going for it, weren't they? But the injury is mercifully not life-threatening. Both victims were believed to be close together. Yeah, guys, this is the thing. Close together behind the synagogue door. Went right, okay. So as I understand it, he was shooting and it went through the door. That's what happens. I think these rifles are 5.56. And it went through the synagogue door when the attack took place. Our thoughts and prayers remain with all of the families and the wider community impacted by, So what I'm reading from this, guys, you've got to understand these officers are under a lot of stress. That, like, you know, they've got like a couple of seconds to react, and you're thinking, right, weapon. Can I see a weapon? Identify a weapon. Yes, and your trigger finger goes. So as I'm reading this article now, it looks like that these the victims were behind a door behind the this is just what I'm reading now, guys. This is live speculation, I may be wrong. So the assailant, the attacker, was standing, as I'm reading this now, was standing, and the other 2 victims were behind a door. Look, guys, I don't want dirt to be thrown on the police officers. All these people, anybody who is dead as of this attack is because of that person, not the police. I don't want to see people coming out and saying, oh, the police should have done this, the police should have done that. No, the police dealt with the situation. Yeah, that's all the article says, guys. Lisa Jane is saying, I feel sorry for the armed police. They have to make those tough. Yeah, this is it. You know, you've literally got to make those decisions in a split second. Literally, you've got, like, can you imagine going into a room, right? And you see a man like that, you know, and oh, it's literally, so it's old news. It was brought. Yeah, this is 16 minutes old from Sky News. I don't know where you saw it yesterday. Yeah, but Lisa Jane's saying there, you know, she feels sorry for the armed police. Yeah, they have a massive job to do. Can you imagine right now going into a room? There's bad guys in that room who will kill you. The bad guys in that room are also doing bad things, but you don't know who's who. You have no idea. As soon as you walk in that room, you have got no idea who is who. And you've got one of those things in your hands. And if you make the wrong decision, you're going to jail for a long time. Can you imagine that stress? It's ridiculous, guys. It's ridiculous, you know. Sometimes officers make mistakes. I don't think this is a mistake. From reading this article here, it looks like they were shooting, and they're using 5.56, which is it's high velocity. It's relatively small as well, so it will go through doors and stuff. So he was using 5.56. As I understand it, he was aiming, obviously missed, or it went through him. I don't know. It could be either or. And it went through a door that was behind the victim. And if you think about the videos that you've seen, there does appear to be a door, like, to the left of this of the guy. Yeah, look, guys, you know, DH, you know, people who slate the police need to put themselves in their shoes. Yes, exactly. Look, guys, I'm I'm pro-police, pro-government, pro-military, you know, pro-law and order. we need to understand here, though, guys, the difference between like real policing, which I don't think our police force can do, because we have a lot of wokery. But these armed police officers, you know, I've done a lot of work with armed police, especially the ones in Cardiff. I mean, this was years back. You know, they're solid guys. You know, they really are solid guys. Yeah. Right, hang on, because somebody just said Manchester Bombers family have made a statement. Right, where's this? Wow, so James is saying, wow, a door to the left, that officer may need training if the guy isn't a narrow target. He should have missed, or the door was from. Yeah, so you don't know where that shot was taken. If the shot was taken at a steep angle, you know, it depends where that shot was taken from. So if you think, so just think about this. You've got the gate and the fence, like from the video that I've seen, the entry point and the car is on the right. So you would assume those officers moved in through that entry point. You would assume the attacker was by the door or trying to make entry to the door. So that it's actually not a wide angle. It's actually quite a narrow angle. Right, guys, somebody just put on the chat that somebody just put on the chat that the family of this guy have just made a statement. I can't remember what his name is. Because does somebody have a link to that, guys? Does anybody have a link to that? Oh, right. Okay. GB News. Hang on. Right, I can't find it. Listen, guys, I can't find it, and I need to. I'm gonna close this. I'm gonna close this down in a minute. Donna is saying this is so sad. People lost their life, and there's no doubt the public backlash is also going to cause the police shooter to lose his job. I hope he doesn't lose his job, guys. You know, that police officer wouldn't have been there if a guy wasn't going rammy, stabby, stabby. Silly is saying, do you know that the Palestinian Authority is paying pensions to every terrorist family according to how many Jews they kill? Wow. I didn't know that, Silly. It's unbelievable, guys. It really is unbelievable. I think identifying, you know, if you live in the United Kingdom, guys, you know, there's no way around it. You know, we are at war. Hang on. Right, it's just being read on GB News. Right. So are we saying that the statement from the family has just been read on GB News? I can't find it, guys. I can't find it. Right, listen, anyway, ladies and gentlemen, listen, guys, I am gonna have to close this down. I've got some apples. I need to get this. I'm making some cider. I need to get all the stuff into the fermenter, get that fermenting today, hopefully, so we'll have some cider in 2 weeks. Oh, what time is it? No, we're good. Some of that cider will be turned into apple brandy for Christmas. But anyway, guys, listen, I am going to close this down. Right, I'm going to close this down now, guys. I will be back on later at 8 or just before. The crux of this video, guys, you know, I don't see any other way you can say it now. Britain is at war. And my advice to you, if you live in the United Kingdom now and you can, is get out now. People are living in constant fear. Children are living in constant fear. Religious gatherings are now fair game. Remember, it was only last month when Islamic State released a post saying to target Christians and Jews in their homes, to follow their prey back to their homes. They were saying, ram, shoot, stab, ram, and blow up things. That's what they were saying, Islamic State, guys, last month on the 19th of September. I did a video on it. It turns out people have been taking that advice. I would speculate that there are more people. I would speculate that there are more people in the United Kingdom who may be sympathetic to Islamic State. You know, I would say that, guys. I don't think that's controversial saying that. Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, be careful. Thanks for hanging out with me this morning. I'll be back on later at 8.